Alright, welcome back to Fire Force Anime Review, episode number 80. We are here sadly reviewing the second to last episode of the entire series. Yep, because the very next episode, which will air next week, will be, and this has been confirmed online, the final episode. This is Answer, covering chapters 292 to 299. And if you're going to be asking, did day of production make any cuts from these 8 chapters? No, they did not. They cut nothing. They basically did a really good job adapting these 8 chapters. I was surprised. I thought they were going to put some back in the cut. Nope. They covered 8 chapters. And next week will be the end. So we start off with Shira, Sho, the second pillar, and the evangelist. Seemed like all hope was lost. All of a sudden we see Arthur, who somehow got back his lower half of his body. By the way, this is not really explained in the manga either. And that he is now wearing a hoodie in space. Where he got the hoodie from is never explained. And that's not Dave Productions' fault with that one. That's actually manga's fault with that part. You could say that Excalibur got back his lower half, but who the heck frickin' knows? And uses Excalibur to use his plasma sword ability to whack Shira in the head twice. And it's like, oh, that must be the fourth pillar's guardian. Arthur. Yes. The only other character here who's actually still alive. Because everyone else is gone. Yeah, everyone else is gone. Like, all the rest of the pillars have been absorbed. So then all of a sudden, we have a flashback to just prior to Shira's mom becoming an Inferno. And where he's like, oh, Sho's waking up. He's being a very good big brother, helping out his mom. By the way, the series does not really explain who the heck his father is. Because some say it's a virginal birth, like in the case of Jesus. But the series never goes into who Shira's father is. Because his mom just got, all of a sudden overnight, this felt like she never slept with any guy. She got pregnant twice with her 2 kids. And they explain this in a flashback storyline, which Sho read about. And so then, of course, basically, then after that really good flashback, which ends with presumably when Shira's mom became an Inferno, then Shira's mom shows up, and we find out something like, you're like, what's going on here? We have another doppelganger situation. Yes, where it's revealed in the penultimate episode of the entire series that Shira's mom is a doppelganger of the evangelist. You're probably like, where the heck did this come from? By the way, this is in the manga too, so do not blame Dave Production for this or Crunchyroll. Because this is the manga's fault. Because, yeah, stuff in this last stuff is like completely out of the blue here. And like, of course, they reunite. Of course, we see that, by the way, and I do appreciate that Dave Production did a very good job keeping how Shira's mom looks in the manga, where we see that basically she's like covered in bandages. Her arm is like practically a bone. Yes. And we see her, she's actually almost like wearing a suit. How she got like that, it's not exactly explained here. You could say that her being turned to Inferno may have done it to her, but it's not very clear. And then Shira's mom, Shira and Sho combine to form Shiro Bashunga Man, which looks like basically a demon. And uses the power, and also we see that the second pillar has merged the evangelist now. And becoming the oppressing, crying Saintess. And Shira uses power. He tries to use it on her, but he's using Inga's power to block it. And of course, also Iris's grace. And then, of course, he uses his ability to, get this, create flowers. And create water. Creating a cartoonish whale. And Sigma's like, no, all this depressed stuff. Yeah, she's like this the whole episode. She's crying. She's like, no, not this, not be happy. And then, of course, he forms the atmosphere, which all the black smoke goes away. And then he pretty much brings back civilization. Yes. To make the billions look like the way they do in Soul Eater. The reason for this, because the creators of the series also did Soul Eater. Despite the fact the anime is done by two different production studios. This is, of course, done by Day Production. And Soul Eater Not were done by Studio Bones. The same people who did My Hero Academia and basically got a lot of money out of that particular series. Yeah. Here's your proof of how much My Hero Academia makes money. Shame they couldn't do the same thing with Soul Eater. So, of course, she's getting very depressed, and of course, Soul Eater and of course, use her tears to bring back everybody who fucking died throughout this whole series. He brings back, the seventh squad captain's mentor, brings him back, brings back the captain of the first squad. Everybody who died in the series, including Lieutenant Rucka, which that was interesting because he died back in season 1 of the show. He brings everybody. He brings back Obi. And this whole thing we do is just see the Tabaki is still basically still wearing her bra, or basically wearing a sport bra. She's there, of course. Everybody's happy to see Captain Obi alive. Hanabi, basically, this character, is shocked to see, get this, the little girls who died in that chapel years before the show, before the main story happened. They all magically came back. Everybody is back, and of course, Nick Burr's like, "What did you do? No!" And then he smiles, and that's how the episode ends. I'm like, wow, this was actually really good. And makes me look forward to the last episode. Yes, I know this is the last one. And then, of course, this is just by sheer coincidence. Because, of course, we also have Dr. Stone coming back next month. And that's also going to be wrapping up, too. You're like, wow, in a span of about 9 months. It seems like past year. We're just wrapping up major series. I mean, last year wrapped up My Hero Academia. That's completely done. Well, with the exception of the last chapter, which is coming out in a couple months. We're wrapping up Fire Force. And now we're wrapping up, of all things, Dr. Stone next. Yes. This episode was fantastic. They did an amazing job with this thing. Yes, people probably watch this episode like, why all this stuff here? It's the manga's fault, so do not blame David Production or Crunchyroll for this. It's the manga's fault for that. Yeah, a lot of the problem you can say, a lot of the hiccups this arc had, these episodes, the chapters of this episode, like you can not like this is one of those instances you can say it's the manga's fault, not the animation studio. They're just basically, I was surprised they kept everything in. Because there's no cuts. Nothing was cut. They did actually an amazing job adapting roughly 8 chapters. 8 chapters. And I highly doubt they can adapt the stuff that was skipped over the last few episodes. So I am presuming for the final episode of the entire series, which is going to be next week, it's going to adapt the last 5 chapters. Which will officially wrap up this entire series. Yep. And when it comes next week's episode, I will be doing a bonus video. I'll give my final thoughts on that core in that episode. But the following video, episode 82, will be my final thoughts on the entire series. And that'll be my final video for Fire Force. Because that's another one officially wrapping up. Yep. Now, will I do the same thing with Dr. Stone when the last episode of that comes out? Yes. Yes, I will be doing that. Final video on that one. Yep, so yeah, that's pretty much the particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, to notifications. Well, next up is Jujutsu Kaisen. Okay, next video. Bye.